Good morning. It's Monday, so I know it's been a little while since I've done a book talk, but I read a bunch of books over fall break. I actually did Dewey's 24-hour readathon. It was the 10th anniversary of Dewey's readathon, so I participated in that this last Saturday, and for only the second time ever actually made it the entire 24 hours. Usually about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I accidentally take a nap for about an hour or two and then wake up and go, dang, I didn't make it. But this time I just did a couple slow blinks and reread the same page a couple times, but I did manage to stay up all 24 hours. And during that time, I read all of these books and listened to a couple of hours of an audiobook, which I'll talk about next week. The first thing that I read, which I started, I think when the readathon started, I was about, this far into this book, but it was really good and I wanted to finish it, so I just kept on. This is book 1 of the series, which we have here in the library. It's called 3 Dark Crowns. And what I read this weekend was One Dark Throne. It is the second book in the series. As I was reading it, I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be, if this was going to be if it was just going to be a duology or if it's going to be a trilogy, but it kind of sounds like it's going to be a trilogy. It's fantasy. I just want to give you the basic premise because it's the second book and I can't really tell you too much because it will give away stuff from the first book, but I would definitely recommend that you check it out and read it. It is set on an island where every so often a set of triplets will be born. And these triplets, from this set of triplets, one of them will eventually be queen. And the way that they become queen is that after they become teenagers, they have to basically battle it out, and last woman standing becomes queen, okay? One of the triplets has to kill the other two, and then they get to be queen, okay? For the last several cycles, it's been a poisoner. That's one of the things you can be, is you can eat poison, you poison other people. There's whole families, that's what they do. The last several queens have been poisoners, but you could also be an elemental queen, which means you control like fire or lightning or rain or whatever, or you can be a naturalist, which means you can control animals. Some people also have what's called a war gift, which basically means they can manipulate objects or have kind of kinetic powers where they can push other people around with their minds. But anyway, there's all kinds of cool stuff going on. It's very twisty. There's lots of intrigue and backstabbiness, and it's just generally a good fantasy story. I actually liked the second book better than the first book, which rarely happens. I'm not sure if I was just in a mood when I was reading the first one, but it took me a little bit to get into. But I really liked it about halfway through into the end, and then this one I liked the whole way through. Pulled me right along. I also read Little Monsters. We have this one in the library already, and I've been looking at it for a couple of weeks and kind of caught my eye. It's in the mystery section. This one, I think I read it in about 4 hours. It was really good. It is about a girl who has moved to a new city. She's 17 or 18, and she's moved in with her dad. She used to live in New York, I think, with her mom, and her mom's just kind of all over the place. But anyway, she's living with her dad now and her stepmom, and she's got an older stepbrother and half-sister. So she's kind of figuring out where she fits in this family, but she's also kind of hooked up with these two girls who have always been best friends, and they just kind of adopt her as a third in their group. And then stuff happens. Okay. It is a mystery. Someone dies. I don't want to tell you too much about it because that's part of the fun of the mystery, is figuring out what exactly is going on. But the best thing about this book is a lot of times you can kind of see way down the road, oh, I know who did this, so they're wanting me to think it's this person, it's really this person, but there were at least 3 or 4 points in this book where I was like, oh, I know it, oh, it's this person, right? And then I was like, oh, no, wait, oh, it can't be them. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, it can't be them either. So it was really good, and you should check it out. We just got this one. It's going to be in the library, but it's not ready yet. It is the 4th book in the 100 series. And as you see, it's a show. I've not watched the show, so I don't really know how the books line up with the show. But I read the first 3, and the 4th one was also good. It's very, if you've read any of them, then they're all roughly the same. It's kind of like, a little like teeny soap opera, but we're trying to recolonize Earth and not die. So, good stuff. Sci-fi. This one is the third book in a trilogy. What's this one called? I can't remember what the trilogy is called, but the first one is called Walk the Earth a Stranger. I don't remember what the second one is called, but the third one is Into the Bright Unknown. I love these covers. They're all nice and shiny. But in the third book, obviously I can't tell you too much about it because it's the third book, but I would definitely recommend this trilogy. In the first book, you find out that the main character has the ability to sense gold. Okay, she can feel where it is. So it's set during gold rush times, so obviously really anytime the ability to find gold easily and bring it up out of the ground would be a very profitable skill to have, and people might want to capture you and make you use it for their personal gain, and exploit you for that. So that's one of the things that's happening in this book, but there's a lot of other stuff going on other than just this girl can find gold. It talks a lot about the social conditions of that particular time period. They talk a little bit about slavery and freed slaves and freemen, and some trickiness in there about the political and legal standing of women. I think there's a character who is from China. There's a lot of stuff going on in the book and in the series itself, but I would definitely recommend it if you're interested at all in gold rush times or fantasy in which people have powers that are cool. And this last one, okay. I didn't even know that this book existed until sometime last week, and then I saw it in my Facebook feed, and then I saw it somewhere else, and then I tried to request it online, and then I went to the public library, and there it was, sitting on the shelf. So I was like, I must need to read this book. I love M.T. Anderson. Everything I've ever read by him has been great. As you can see, this is very short, so it was great for readathon. I read it during, I think, the last 2 hours of the readathon, so between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning after being up all night, there was a little bit of this going on with it, but the chapters are very short. If you've ever heard of Feed by M.T. Anderson, it kind of has a little bit of that same feel, except way, way shorter. It's set in the future where these aliens called the VUV, I guess you would say, it's VUVV. These aliens have come and they've told us, oh, hey, we've got all this cool technology, like we can pretty much make most jobs obsolete, we can pretty much cure all illnesses, everything will be great, just let us come in and do all this stuff for you, which they do, but they also charge for all that stuff. They don't just give it to you, and all the people whose jobs were made obsolete, they don't have jobs anymore, so they can't pay for this cool alien, healthcare and technology and stuff. So the only people that really benefit from all this cool stuff are people who are already really wealthy already, So you're following in this book a character he's a teenager and he is an artist. His mom has lost her job. There's a family that moves in with them the dad has lost his job, like the kid's dad's run off on them and stuff. But it's interesting kind of exploration of the idea that, like, if all diseases were curable and all this, unnecessary labor was eliminated, like, would that really be good? Or could that be bad in a way? So anyway, it was interesting. And also, he's kind of funny. He's got a good way with dark humor. So I'll probably get it for the library, but I'm going to turn it back into the public library soon. You can read it there if you want to, if you don't want to wait. Anyway, that was a lot of stuff. We've got some new books coming in. I just ordered some things from Amazon, and I'll be ordering some more stuff in the next week or two. So we will have some new things out on the shelves, and I'll be talking about those and talking about other stuff next week. But until then, see you, and we'll think of something to give you a tip on Thursday.